Welcome back to In Ohio Country today, and we're here in beautiful Celina, Ohio at Celina Insurance Group's headquarters, home office, if you would. And with me today is Clay Heitkamp. Clay has been with Celina for quite some time, but he's got a new role and a very important role here for Celina Insurance Group. But before we get into that, Clay, you want to tell us a little bit give us your background, because I know it's pretty extensive, and I've known you for quite some time, and it can even go back to your basketball days.
Sure. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. I grew up in New Bremen, Ohio, graduate of New Bremen High School, and grew up living and working on a family farm. Our operation is we raise market hogs and have a row crop operation where we raise corn, soybeans, and wheat on an annual crop rotation basis. So heavily involved in the farming at home, and yeah, like I said, like you said, enjoy the sports and getting out in the high school sports and staying involved as much as I can as well. So.
Yeah, so you're talking about your background's been in ag, and I'm sure that over that period of time, when you mentioned that you played sports, but you were probably also involved in 4-H and FFA and those kind of things too.
Yes, absolutely. I took hogs to the fair, I think, every year that I could, and enjoyed those experiences, and have since, once I kind of graduated from that, I've joined my dad and my uncle both work full-time on the farm, so I'm involved daily, going through barns, checking pigs, and then, in the spring and the fall, obviously helping with the crop operation as well.
Well, with your role here as the manager of the farm underwriting department, being involved in agriculture and having a knowledge of work and being on a working farm is very important.
Yeah, it is, and that's I like to tell people when Celina hired me, I think I met two of the qualifications they were looking for. I had a college degree and some farm experience, right, and didn't really have much else, and kind of got in here and got started and learned the insurance and learned kind of Celina insurance and our culture and how we treat our people, which is great in my mind. Kind of just one of the best things Celina has going for it. But yeah, we got in here and got to work.
Well, when I first met you, right, you actually were a farm underwriter, and maybe just kind of walk us through where you started here, and how you ended up as the manager of the farm department.
Yeah, sure. So, like I mentioned, been with the company now, going on 11 years. Was, as you know, a farm underwriter when I first joined the company. Did that for 4 years. Moved over, went to commercial lines, was an underwriter over there for a couple years as well. Really enjoyed that experience. Gave me more exposure to some other things just in the industry as a whole that I wouldn't have normally got exposed to being just in farm. From there, I took a transfer out to the field where I actually got to meet our agents much closer. I was a marketing representative for Celina and was Alan's representative for Celina, and really enjoyed those about 3 years that I had on the road, meeting with agents daily, hearing their concerns, working through problems with the home office that we could find solutions to, and then having that background in both farm and commercial really helped with that. And then 2004, an opportunity came about to come back into the office and join the management ranks. I took that and started out supervising some marketing reps in our states of Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And then shortly after, they needed some help in farm again, and kind of came full circle, back to kind of where I started, now managing the farm underwriters, and looking forward to really, setting, my base here and staying in a place for a while, because I have kind of moved around the company, but it's all been good. It's been good experiences that I can draw on. But I think the farm profit center really suits my skill set well for my background.
Well, with farm, it's important where we're at. Agriculture being one of the number one industry in the state of Ohio, and most certainly one of the top industries in much of the country, and most certainly for the states that Celina Insurance Group operates in. And it's so important to have a viable insurance risk management tools, and Celina offers that. So can you give us some updates maybe on some new things that we could expect to see, what Celina might be working on? I know you don't want to give away all your trade secrets,
Sure, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But maybe some things that Celina can see in the future to be viable and good tools for agricultural producers.
Sure. The agriculture industry, like, many of the industries we do business with, is ever changing, right? So we try to be as nimble there as we can. I think some things that have recently came out are some enhancements that we've done to, offer some higher limits on building values. I think as we've seen with inflation across the board, we've had to adopt on the type of farms that we write. We've had to take on more risk to serve the farmers that we do business with, to make sure that we're able to write the buildings that they're putting up, or the buildings that they've had put up. We need to make sure that we can carry adequate limits to replace those buildings should, disaster strike. So I think that's been, here recently, something that we've had to adapt to as a company. And I think we've done a nice job. There's been some other risk transfer mechanisms that we've had to use to kind of get there. But really we've landed in a good spot, and, hopefully, specifically on that topic, hopefully inflation kind of levels out and we can get to a place where, we're a little more stable over the next few years. But that's been, a challenge that we've faced here recently that I feel we've done, we've had to address it, and I think we've overcame it, and we're moving forward.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You were talking about the cost of repairs and the inflation. Yeah, it's affected. As a consumer, a lot of people just think about, oh gosh, what it costs to repair my car or what it costs to repair my house.
Sure.
Which we know those figures have really increased, actually at a much faster pace than inflation. And ag is no exception to that rule.
No, that's exactly correct. And I mean, as you mentioned, building materials and vehicles, those we've seen rapid inflation, as you mentioned, outpacing, even company or countrywide averages. And like I said, as a industry, not only Celina, but just insurance, we've had to adapt to those. And because we are in the business of protecting people's livelihood, if something happens that, we need to be there to pick them up, catastrophic events, that's the promise we make to our insureds. So we've had to address that. And I think we have as a company. I'm excited, in the spot that we're in now.
Well, talking about that, technology is ever evolving, right? And it's gosh, I read the publications and I look at all the stuff and I'm like, what's going to be next on the horizon for farmers? And I know what we do on the farm and the technology we've adapted just in the last 5 years has been, if I talked to my grandfather and said, hey, this is what's going to happen. These tractors are going to drive themselves across the field, and it's going to be able to change the population on the go. He'd have said, "You're crazy, right?"
Yeah. And I think the same way. I mentioned, Grandpa started in the early '70s, but he grew up on a farm on his own. Started with horse drawing equipment, and so that's definitely something. As we continue to insure farms, technology has played a huge role, not only on what we use on the company side, but we know our farmers that we're insuring are, technology in these tractors or in these buildings that we're insuring are playing a much larger role, and it's obviously not going away. So yeah, we've had to address those exposures, and feel that we've done a good job doing that, and we want to provide a solution to those farmers that are looking to cover that type of equipment.
One thing, Clay, that I think is important to discuss is maybe especially in a niche market, and Celina has a very good one.
Yeah, Alan, we've got a pretty robust equine appetite, especially for a company our size. On any of our farms, we include liability for up to 5 personal horses. So that's first and foremost. If they've got, other equine exposures other than that, we do handle boarding, breeding, training. We do shows and clinics, whether they're on premises. We do risks where they're giving lessons, and those lessons can be on our insured's horses or the students' horses. So we've written equine really a good amount of it across all the states that we do business in, and I've been really happy with that program and love doing business with our equine people. And I would just say one of the things that sets Celina apart in general from the competition is every one of our staff members in farm has some sort of personal connection to farming outside of the walls of Celina here. And that's something we're intentional about when we go through the hiring process. We want some folks just like me, didn't really have insurance experience, but was active on the family farm and kind of came in. And we feel like we can train on the insurance end, but we don't necessarily think that it's as easy to pick up the farm piece. So if you can have somebody that's actively involved outside the walls here on the family farm or through a family member that's farming, that really helps. And I think it helps to drive home, really, at the end of the day, what are we doing here? And we're protecting our farmers' livelihood, right? These are farms that, in a lot of cases have been in families for generations, or, those farmers that are starting out on their own and hope to leave a legacy for years to come. And I think our staff really recognizes that, and they take that to heart when they come to work every day.
Well, and my staff working with the folks here at Celina realize that because of the communication. And when I have a conversation with one of the folks here at Celina and we talk about, well, we're dealing with this issue on this combine. They don't ask me what a combine does, right? They have a very, very good working knowledge of exactly how that machine works.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to refer back to a story one agent told me one time that he was talking to a company person and they asked him how many miles were on that combine. We don't deal with those sort of issues here. I mean, we know, hours and, terminology when we're talking to our agents about farm. And to be quite frank with you, I mean, we want to be trusted farm advisors for our agents. Some agents might not be as well-versed in farm as somebody like yourself. So if we have those agents that, need our assistance more than others, we want to be there for them where we can truly help them assess and cover exposures on a farm. Yeah, Celina Insurance is, as a company, we've been around since 1914, so well over 100 years now, and we're located right here in the heart of, farming country in Mercer County, Ohio, and we feel that presents us with a unique skill set to help our farmers out across all the states we ride in, and our goal is, we want to be around for the next 100 years to help protect those farms as well as they continue to grow and evolve.
Well, Clay, we've covered a lot of stuff and Celina Insurance Group has a whole lot of other products as well. And if somebody wanted to find out more information about what Celina Insurance Group offers, farm or the other products, where would they go?
Sure. They can go to our public website, celinainsurance.com, and find out more information there. And there's also an independent agent locator tool on there that if you'd like to have somebody quote your business with Celina, I'd encourage you to contact one of your local agents that we're partnered to write business with, and they'll be able to assist you from there.
Well, they can also go to allendavisinsurance.com. There's a link there. And inohiocountry.com. There'll be a link there as well. Clay, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you having me.
We'll be back with more in Ohio Country Today right after this.
From generation to generation, farmers do their best to protect their land, livestock, and farm operations. But they can't do it alone. Celina Insurance Group has partnered with local ag professionals to do just that, offering the peace of mind needed to run a successful operation. Celina's products and coverages come from our first-hand experience and relationships with local agents. For total farm protection, come experience the Celina difference. Learn more at celinainsurance.com.